tell you, say they conquer. You they see them, my boys, them they wonder. Now me be the under the fire. African
July 6th, 2014. It was supposed to be a holiday, 3 days at a resort in Ada with friends, sun and jet skis on the water. Castro UnderFire, one of the most gifted voices Ghana had ever produced, got on a jet ski and was never seen again. Over a decade later, nobody knows exactly what happened on that estuary. The jet ski came back, Castro didn't. And what followed, the theories, the accusations, the sightings, the grief, is a story that Ghana has never fully told in one place. We're telling it today, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why the question of what happened to Castro still matters, and why it probably always will. There is one detail about how Castro ended up at Ada that day that Asamoah Gyan has shared in interviews, a detail that changes everything about how you feel watching the events unfold. We're going to come back to it in the last days section of this video, because it's the kind of detail that stays with you. To understand what happened that day, you need to know the scene exactly as Asamoah Gyan, the Ghana Black Stars captain who was there, has described it. The plan had originally been to go to Akosombo, but the yacht there had broken down, so the group redirected to the Aqua Safari Resort in Ada. First time they'd ever been there. July 5th, the group moves to Peace Holiday Resort. Castro performs alongside Gyan at the event there. July 6th, the day everything changes. By late morning, the group is on the water with jet skis. Gyan is out on the lake. Some of the others sit back. They're scared of the water or just prefer drinks in the shade. Castro, watching everyone else come back buzzing from the ride, develops what one account describes as a tremendous interest in going out himself. He gets on a jet ski. He's on the lake for a while. The others start heading in for volleyball. Castro is the last man on the water. Instead of coming in to park, he speeds off toward the hotel direction and then turns. He sped off, and when he returned, he headed towards the hotel direction, and that was the last time I saw him. Asamoah Gyan recounting the disappearance.
Instead of offering saying or parking and not far hotel on the side, no.
Where this
baby your hotel on the side, no.
Yeah.
That was my last time.
Would do anything.
Me Andy.
According to Gyan's brother, Bafur Gyan, who was watching from the bank, Castro stopped at the shore and Janet Bandu, a woman in the group, rushed out to join him on the jet ski. Bafur shouted at them, "Come back for a life jacket." Janet wasn't wearing one. They didn't stop. They sped off toward the estuary, and that was the last time anyone saw them. President John Mahama sent helicopters to Ada to assist in the search. Police conducted an intensive effort across the water and surrounding areas. Divers went in. Days passed. Nothing. Pandemonium ensued as people started to search for the entertainer, others joining in later. However, Castro and his lady counterpart were never found anywhere in the Ada estuary during that moment, and to this day, it is a mystery what happened. One set of shoes remained on the bank, left behind by a man who expected to come back. To understand the size of the loss, you have to understand the height from which Castro disappeared. Since 2003, he had been a permanent fixture in Ghanaian music. Not someone who peaked and faded, someone who kept evolving, kept crossing genres, kept finding new ways to remind Ghana why they fell in love with him in the first place. Toffee earned him Hiplife Artist of the Year and Hiplife Album of the Year at the 2006 Ghana Music Awards. African Girls, recorded with his closest friend Asamoah Gyan, won Best Hiplife Song in 2011 and became a continental anthem, helping propel the Azonto dance movement from Ghanaian celebrations onto global stages. But it was the voice that set him apart from everyone else. A vocal wizard, a crafty storyteller, a crossover king. In the words of music in Africa, a master of melodies that could spark instant parties or provoke quiet reflection in perfect doses, often on the same record. According to Anane Frimpong, veteran producer who produced Castro's first albums, Castro's rapid rise boiled down to his humility. Even after fully blooming into stardom, Castro was constantly praised for his selflessness and humanity by many of his contemporaries. Ghana's 50 Cent, his close friends called him, a nickname that came from the physical resemblance, but also from the relentless commercial output, the hits delivered on near-perfect schedule. His last full year in music had produced Odopa, which would go on to win Hiplife Song of the Year at the Ghana Music Awards, and a collaboration with Sarkodie on Adonai that was already becoming something neither of them had seen coming. He was dreaming past music too. He wanted to retire eventually, not to disappear, but to become a producer, to find the next generation of talent, to be the person for young unknown artists that others had been for him. Barely a month before Adaa, Adonai was released, a collaboration between Castro and Sarkodie. Released in early 2014, Adonai Remix quickly became one of the year's standout records. Pulse Ghana ranked it the second biggest song of 2014, calling it one of the hottest singles on the scene. Later that year, it won Best Hiplife Video at the MTN Foresight Music Video Awards. In June 2014, Castro and Sarkodie performed Adonai together at the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. It was the last time most of Ghana saw Castro on a stage. And now, the detail we promised you at the start of this video. A week before the Ada trip, Castro called Asamoah Gyan and told him he probably couldn't make it. A friend from London had lost their father. Castro needed to attend the funeral in Kumasi. The day before the group left, he came to Gyan's house and confirmed he was on his way to Kumasi. Then, on the Accra-Tema motorway, while the group was already on the road to Ada, Gyan's phone rang. It was Castro. He wanted them to wait for him. They pulled over at a fuel station. He caught up with them and he changed his mind about going. Gyan said later, "I later got the inclination it was destined to happen because he was initially not part of the trip. He chose to go. He didn't have to. He chose to."
Offer me. That was a week before I remember Ghana. Search I this trip there unto Kopa Nadam Fubi Papa Kababy of London. Na this trip no eba ku see Saturday no so no. A day before I beko we know akwa safari ho Adano oba afie dey be di nkra ni na say won Nadam fu no den Kumasi because nti adi nkra wi a onka ho ye na motorway no so say ho na ya ifako ye na motorway muswa na me go for fresh say and I see entwen cause you see entwen.
That detail, the changed plan, the last-minute phone call, the fuel station on the motorway is the thing that makes July 6, 2014 feel not just tragic but unbearable. He made a choice and then he got on a jet ski. The jet ski came home. Castro didn't. What makes the Castro case haunting, in a way that goes beyond ordinary tragedy, is the absence. In most cases of accidental drowning, a body is eventually recovered. The water gives something back. There is something to bury, something that marks the end. At Adaa, there was nothing. The jet ski they rode was recovered on the same day of the disappearance. Police searched, divers searched, President Mahama's helicopters swept the estuary from the air. And the mystery deepens when you learn one specific detail about Castro's physical capability. He was said to be an expert swimmer, not just comfortable in water, experienced enough that he had, on at least one previous occasion, pulled someone else out of danger in water. Those three facts, placed side by side, have kept the mystery alive for over a decade because they don't add up to a simple story. They don't resolve neatly into accident. They leave a space where certainty should be.
Today marks exactly 6 years after popular musician Castro disappeared whilst on a getaway trip in Adaa with friend Asamoah Gyan. But as stated in Section 33 of the Evidence Act of 1975, a person can only be declared legally dead after 7 years by a court where the person in question has not been found.
Under Section 33 of Ghana's Evidence Act 1975, NRCD 323. A person who has not been seen or heard from for 7 years, despite diligent efforts to locate them, is presumed in law to be dead. However, the law does not presume the exact time of death. July 6th, 2021, 7 years, a Ghanaian court officially declared Castro under fire, legally dead. When a body is never found, the public fills the silence, and in the case of Castro, Ghana filled it with everything. The jet ski is recovered. 2 people without life jackets in a fast-moving estuary. An accident. The water keeps them. This is what the evidence most directly supports, and what Asamoah Gyan's family's lawyer called the only conclusion consistent with the facts. In Ghana, when tragedy strikes someone wealthy and powerful, one of the oldest explanations surfaces: ritual killing. The idea that success is not just earned but bought at a cost measured in lives. Asamoah Gyan, as Ghana's highest profile footballer, was the immediate target of these accusations. Media outlets ran the allegations. Social media amplified them. The theory was that Castro's disappearance was not an accident, but a deliberate sacrifice.
Ghana phobia can say, we are ritualist. What the Castro teach us for war career to better yourself. What is answer no so? What does that make you feel? Any bracer what they say?
Because
yes, it the whole Ghana footballer will tunura.
Wild allegations and rumors. There is no connection between Asamoah Gyan and the disappearance of Castro and his girlfriend. According to Kisi, Asamoah Gyan's lawyer, Gyan himself was visibly broken by the loss, and equally broken by what followed. The man who had been Castro's closest friend for years found himself defending his own name while grieving. In the years following the disappearance, reports emerged across West Africa. Someone had seen Castro in Togo, then in Nigeria, then in South Africa, then hiding in his home city of Takoradi. Prophet Cosmos Walker of Cosmos Afran Ministries and others declared publicly that Castro was alive. None of the sightings has ever been verified. None of the reports produced a photo, a meeting, or a confirmation.
In the Castro, the last time I think entertainment show so Castro will be with us. What about Castro?
A diver named Samuel Odarte Lamptey gave perhaps the most unusual account of all, claiming that he had located Castro's body deep beneath the Volta River estuary, held under the protection of the river gods. His account stated that Castro had been warned not to go to that water, that he had defied those warnings, and that retrieving the body would require specific rituals. Whether you believe it or not, it reflects something real about how Ghana processed this loss, not just as a tragedy of physics and water, but as something with a meaning that simple accident couldn't contain. At the 2021 Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, Sarkodie Ye walked onto the stage to perform Adonai. Cole Songs and Kofi Kinata performed alongside him, but Kinata left the stage midway through during the performance of Odopa. He later explained why. When I started my verse, usually it is him and I on stage. Kofi Kinata on leaving the 2021 VGMA tribute performance early. He couldn't finish it because the person who was supposed to be standing next to him wasn't there. Adonai, the song Castro recorded barely a month before he disappeared, now has 111 million views on YouTube. It is the biggest song in Sarkodie's entire catalogue. It is the record that carries Castro's voice into ears that were not yet born when he disappeared.
Said Adonai, just to me, nearly got to world dominance. You know, because that record was not necessarily limited to like my black community, because Azonto was a bit in the black community. Adonai is play. So Adonai definitely, I would say, saved my life to date. And shouts to Castro. I featured on Adonai. He killed that hook. And I don't know where he is at this point, but God bless him. And yes, I wish him well. Let me say that.
After he disappeared, 2 awards were accepted on his behalf at the 2015 Ghana Music Awards. Sehor won Hiplife Song of the Year, the Adonai Remix won Best Collaboration and Vodafone Song of the Year. The man couldn't be there, but the music was. His legacy extended beyond the records too. A generation of Ghanaian pop singers, Kofi Kinata and Nero X, among the most prominent, have cited Castro as a direct source of inspiration. His craft, his humility, his willingness to cross genres without losing himself. That is what they absorbed. Officially, Ghana declared Castro dead in July 2021, 7 years after Ada, but in the country's ears, in 81 million plays, in a tribute performance that made Kofi Kinata walk off a stage because the wrong man was beside him, Castro has never really left.
It has been 7 years since Castro the Destroyer, a popular Hiplife artist, went missing after he went swimming with his friends.
Though all attempts to find him have been unsuccessful for the past 7 years, relations and friends who spoke to City News' Akwesi Ejeini in Takoradi on Tuesday still believe he's alive and would see him again.
We opened this video saying nobody knows exactly what happened on the Ada estuary on July 6th, 2014. That is still true. The jet ski came back, the bodies never did. The theories are still circulating. The sightings have never been confirmed. And the question, what actually happened to Castro UnderFire, remains over a decade later unanswered. What we do know is this: Ghana lost one of its most gifted musical voices at the exact moment he was at his peak, and the silence where his voice should be is one of the loudest absences in Ghanaian music history.
Castro is a very good musician. He knows he wrote, and people wish to see him back again. People want him back.
I believe Castro is alive, and Castro one day will be seen.
If Castro were to be alive, where would you place him musically? Where do you think he would be musically? What role do you think he would be playing now?
Everybody knows him. You know, among the musicians, when he's there, he's the boss. They know it. Greatest, one of the greatest.
Do you miss him?
Yeah. He would have been here with us. He would have been here with us if he was here.
If you enjoy documentaries that go beyond headlines and reveal the stories history almost forgot, subscribe to Fame Africa. Every week we uncover the rise, the fall, and the untold truth behind Africa's biggest names.